Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is ready for the weekend. Is it Friday or is it Thursday? See, I never know what day it is. I really wanted it to be Friday, because then that would mean I could go back to sleep. But, oh well. Yep, so it's Thursday. Listen to Christine Strong's daily Human Design Energy Report. We are transitioning from the 17th line into the 21st line. So moving from the third eye down into the throat chakra. And it would be the gates, not the lines. Yep. It's early. So transitioning from 17th gate to the 21st gate, from the 6th line into the 1st line. So the 1st line being the oh my gosh, what's the word? It's the role model. Yeah. So, and 21st gate being your throat chakra. So, embodying and being a role model for that throat chakra energy. It's kind of going to be, throat chakra is going to be for about the next week or so. 6 days for each gate. So, yeah. Lots of speaking your truth. Anyway, we've got the High Priestess in the reverse. So, High Priestess is your intuition. Things you don't see but you feel. So, in the reverse, I feel like... So, she's almost the magician. She comes right after the magician. But it's the feminine, divine feminine energy of her manifesting. I mean, she is manifesting, right? She looks like she's just casting a spell and knowing it'll come about, but this is in the reverse. So it's maybe a little bit of not relying on your intuition or not trusting it. Maybe you're feeling things intuitively and you're saying, well, no, that couldn't be, right? That just doesn't make sense. Or maybe I don't want it that way. But it's you disconnected from your intuition. And remember, guys, there's instinct and there's intuition. So instinct is more habits. Intuition is those are the synchronicities. Those are the, when you wake up with a song in your head or a movie in your head, or something just comes to you out of nowhere and there you can't trace it back to its genesis, right? Its origin. Then chances are that's intuition. Your instinct would be your first reaction, your gut reaction, which a lot of times is right. But as we get older and more conditioned, things like that become less reliable, if you will. So this is you not really trusting your intuition. And then the King of Wands wanting it your way. I mean, wanting to have it the way you want it. Steve's love tarot. We haven't talked about him in a while, but he calls the King of Wands the Burger King. Gotta have it your way. So a blocked intuition with that gotta have it your way energy is it's a bit of a spoiled child that wants it their way, that isn't gonna follow the rules, isn't going to decide that what is good for him is what he wants. Yeah, all right, I can spit it out. He wants something different than what he knows to be the right thing. Okay, let me think of a good example for this. Well, there's always the 3-year-old with the nap, that doesn't know it's good for them, so they don't want to do it, and they call you mean and the whole 9 yards. They want what they want. They want it done their way. They want all the control. They want to be the top dog. And when you're fighting with your intuition on that, it can lead to disaster, first of all. Our wants are not always what's in our highest good. And intuitively we know that, but we're trying to ignore that. We're trying to say, no, intuitively this is what's happening, but not what I want, so let me just go ahead and do it my way. Not a great energy to be in, but it is a good throat chakra energy. I guess no harm, no foul. Speaking your truth, saying it the way you want it, and telling it like it is, and ignoring the intuitive parts of it. So this can be a control freak, if you will. Bit controlling, bit manipulative, bit, you know, we have that middle path where things are not good and not bad. They just are. We're kind of leaning more towards that bad side now. And by bad, I don't mean like you're going to get in trouble. Just bad as in your intentions aren't exactly pure, right? When we follow our intuition and we don't necessarily have to have everything our way, we are flowing like the river, but it's going to bring the tower. Yeah, I mean, things like that's not surprising at all, because when you got to have it your way and you don't follow your intuition, the divine will come in and show you what the right way is, whether you want to admit that or not. And if you choose to ignore it, then spirit has to speak louder and things get torn down or pulled away from you. So a good example of this is when you know a relationship is at its end and you just try to keep hanging on and not let the relationship go with grace and with love. The tower will come in and that person will get ripped out of your life as opposed to leaving gracefully. So, and that can be people, it can be things, it can be situations, it can be jobs, it can be, a million different things. But not letting them go gracefully will force them to be ripped out of your life. To the Hierophant in reverse. So this is bucking the authority system, right? Hierophant is authority. It's religious authority. So it's you fighting against the tower again. You know, even when the tower comes in, you're still fighting to hang on, fighting to keep what you want going, fighting to make it what, you know, massage the situation to make it what you want instead of just allowing it to be what it is. It's not letting things play out and trying to force them. So we do talk about manifesting, and forcing is not how we do that. We do it with an effortless effort. This energy that I'm seeing today is you forcing the situation, trying to make it into something that it may or may not be, to fit your narrative. A lot of times, you know, they talk about like when people are looking for reasons for something, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. And that is this energy of having a problem with the divine, right? You have a problem with your authority. You have a problem with your intuition. You're ignoring it. And authority is going to come in and say, well, it's my way. Like, it's just going to be what it's going to be. And you can fight it. You can try to make it your way. You can try to have things your way and fit a square peg into a round hole. Or you can just try a different way, you know, or accept things for the way they are. When we accept, it becomes much more flowing like a river, much more, I don't want to say easy. It gets less exhausting, maybe is the word. Think about when you're swimming against the current in the ocean or in the river or something, and it's exhausting and you don't really get anywhere because the river's moving this way and you're moving this way, and it kind of just cancels each other out and you kind of stand still. You stay stagnant. When you let go of having to have it your way and fighting against the river and fighting against the current, and just allow the current to take you where it's going to take you with its own authority, then things get easier, right? You're not expending as much energy. You're kind of going with the energy, and you can rest and rejuvenate. And that way, when you do need to flow against the river, you have the energy to do so. So, it's things that we know, but we sometimes forget, especially when it's something we really, really want. And there's going to be times in our lives, guys, that things we want just aren't going to happen. And it's not because of you know, the divine saying, no, you don't deserve it. It's because maybe there's something better. Maybe you're settling for something smaller than what divine wants to give you, and you don't even realize it. Knight of Pentacles. So that's understanding that. That is writing your own story and understanding that everything that's happening should be recorded and documented and reflected on and become a resource for future use. She's observing. She's not judging. She's not getting pissed off because she's not getting what she wants. She's just observing, like, what's happening. How can I use this as a resource? How can I learn from this? How can I build upon this lesson that I'm being given and allow in the something better? Because ultimately, guys, that's what it boils down to. 9 times out of 10, when these things are taken from you, God's rejection is God's protection. It's because something better is coming for you. You might think that whatever it is you want, that you are fighting against, is perfection. Well, I hate to tell you guys, there is no such thing as perfection. It is a pie in the sky idea. The only time you get perfection, I believe, is in math. And life, although it does tend to be mathematical at times, it's not all the time. And it can't be counted on. It's more of a creative energy. It's more of that left brain creative or right brain creative. Which one is it? Right brain, left brain? I don't know. It's your left side, so I guess it's your right brain. That is less logical. So a lot of times when the divine is conspiring to give you what you want, you think what you want is this big, and divine wants to give you something this big, because that's what is lining up for you. So letting those things go that you thought you wanted to let something better come in will prevent the tower and allow authority to take over, allow the divine to write the story, if you will. Because at the end of the day, guys, you are the divine. You have soul contracts. You have written your life story before you came and incarnated on this earth. And if you believe in reincarnation, then that will make sense to you. If you don't, then we can look at it this way. If this is what you wished for 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. At some point, you wished for what's happening right now. And in doing so, over time, you have narrowed that wish down and redefined it many, many times. And the universe will put it all together to conspire to give you exactly what you want. Know that. Observe that. No judgments, right? Don't judge the fact that you're not getting this thing that you wished for, or that you think is your wish come true, because that might not be the case. It's being patient to wait for that thing to be perfect, and not fighting against it. So now I feel like I'm just repeating myself, so we're going to end the tarot portion there and go for Mermaid Oracle. Let's see, what advice do we have for today? Divine Spirit Source, God Creator, advice for today. Advice for today. Waiting. Wait for what's right, guys. Don't try to fit the situation to what it is you want. Wait for the perfect moment. Wait for the perfect person. Wait for the perfect job. Wait for the perfect opportunity. But wait. Give yourself that pause before acting spontaneously. I think we talked about this last week in my human design chart. I'm literally, the way it shows in my chart, I am absolutely meant to think about things overnight. If I make decisions too impulsively, they never work out well for me. And one of the lessons I came here to this life to learn is to be patient, to wait, to not act on my first instinct. We talked about that in the beginning with your instinct being different from your intuition. Waiting will give you that pause in the still of the night to get the answer that you're asking about, to understand what decision it is you're supposed to make versus what you instinctively think you should make, what you think you want to make. So giving yourself that pause and waiting to see what is revealed to you in your intuition is what will ultimately be in your highest good. We'll read from the book, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we won't. I want to get a chakra card. We'll get a chakra card. These cards are so pretty. I can never guess the right stone though when it's turned backwards like this. I used to be really good at identifying stones, and I've just gotten out of practice with it. And the way I do it now is the color of the stone matches the chakra that it's good for. So there's that. All right, we got journey, sacral chakra. So sacral chakra energy is that drive, determination. It is our, it's right below your belly button. It is, let's see, I'm trying to read from my tapestry here. It's your divine creativity. That comes from divine, rather, that creativity, that drive, that passion, that Mars energy. And journey, enjoy the journey, let go of the outcome. Sacral chakra, red aventurine. I don't think I have a red aventurine. I definitely do not, now that I think about it. I'm certain I do not, but red aventurine. If you can find one, it would be a good stone to carry today. I suspect it looks a little bit like this. Aventurine, usually it's green. I do have one of those somewhere. I've never heard of a red aventurine, actually. Where's my green aventurine? That might be in the other altar. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Enjoy the journey and let go of the outcome. I mean, it summarizes the entire reading. You know, this gotta have it their way is attached to that outcome. Not following their intuition. Not allowing to be what's gonna be. You know, what's that song? If it's gonna be, let it be. I think it's a country song. I don't know. I think I heard it. It was in my head a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's a country song. I have no idea what song that is, but if it's meant to be, it'll be. And not forcing it. Not being attached to the outcome. Just being present. Be here now. Be in the moment. That's going to be my mantra from now on. Waiting. Call on the qualities of patience while you are waiting for something to happen. Your ship is about to come in. So exactly what I said. You know, you guys think you want something this big, and the divine is conspiring to give you something this big. So keep that in mind today, guys. Try to let go of a little bit of that control. Maybe with the Human Design Energy Report being in the 21st line, maybe pause before you speak, before you answer, before you ask, before you say something. Give yourself that pause and wait. I have actually learned, it's a bit of a side tangent here, that in my field, you know, I'm going into counseling. If you just pause and don't answer someone right away after they're done speaking, and you kind of nod 3 times slowly, they will continue to speak, and more will be revealed. And that way you don't have to ask the questions. They just start offering up the information. So, little PSA for you today. Just wait, practice the pause, and don't get attached to the outcome. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. We'll talk in a minute. Much love and light. Hey, guys. So, watch the video, and a few things. Actually, yeah, a few things. So, the names we had today were Christine and Steve. And the numbers we had were 17 and 21. I think 6 was in there a little bit. Not a prominent number within the reading, but it was mentioned. I think the 6th line and the 1st line, so even a number 1. But so 17 would reduce to an 8, which is something I can never remember. I think it's just fast moving, mastery. And then the 21 would reduce to 3, which is the divine number, mind, body, spirit. So a lot of the reading today was your mind working against your spirit. So a lot of energy with trying to force. We talked last week about the effortless effort, and I mentioned it briefly today. And it just works better, guys. It just works better. It's you know, why fight against the current, if you will. We mentioned that a lot. But let's go back to the beginning. So, actually, no, I'm not going to go back to the beginning yet. The words that jumped out at me today: conspire. I kept saying the universe is conspiring to give you what you want. Think about what conspire means. It lines things up, right? It sets them up like a chessboard. Conspire to win. The universe doesn't just grant wishes. It conspires. It starts to put opportunities in front of you, it starts to literally line things up. I mean, you know, think about when you're driving to work and you hit a road that's closed and you have to go a different way to work, and maybe you drive by someone who needs your help. The universe has conspired to give that person what they need. You might be the help in the situation, or you might be the person receiving. You know, it goes both ways, literally. We talked about soul contracts briefly. I mentioned soul contracts, and we haven't talked about those in a while, but you may have contracts with people that were made before this incarnation, that they're going to act a certain way or be a certain presence in your life to teach you a certain lesson. And then once that contract is over and it's been fulfilled, if you will, or even canceled, like you can cancel contracts, but that's a whole different, maybe I'll do a video on soul contracts. But then it becomes the relationship that it either goes away, or you carry it in your heart and move on from it, or maybe then it becomes what you want it to be instead of what it needs to be. You just don't know. You gotta wait and find out. And then patience and waiting, of course, was basically the entire reading. And I was thinking about the word patience with P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E versus patience, P-A-T-I-E-N-T-S. You know, at times we don't want to have patience. We don't want to be the patient, if you will, and let our doctors, if you will, I guess if you're a patient with a doctor, let them give us what they you know, give us their expertise, if you will, give us their knowledge that they've spent years perfecting. And that, you know, that brings me to another point: perfection. I talked a lot about perfection today, and at one point I said there's no such thing as perfection. I kind of want to clarify that, because there is no such thing as perfection in general, right? But there is a perfect moment. There is a perfect time, thing, whatever, for you. It might be your perfect thing, is not necessarily perfect for someone else. So the broader definition of the word perfect is kind of a pie in the sky idea, but there are going to be perfect opportunities for you, perfect people for you, perfect situations for you, perfect whatever. It's your perfect is in the eye of the beholder. They talk about beauty being in the eye of the beholder. Well, perfect is also in the eye of the beholder. All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, back to the beginning. I had wanted it to be Friday so bad. I even said, you know, happy Friday. Put the cart before the horse. I'm a day ahead of myself. I'm trying to get ahead of myself. And I'm not enjoying Thursday. Thursday is the day I get to work from home, you know. Friday I have to go into the office. So there's good parts about Thursdays that need to be appreciated before we jump ahead to Friday. The King of Wands, obviously, the Burger King, gotta have it his way, wanted it to be Friday. And it's just not going to be. No matter how bad I want it to be Friday, it's not going to be that. So I can't force my will upon the universe, upon the collective, what we've all agreed on, right? With the days of the week and what day is it. We talked a lot about gates and lines. They talk about those in the Human Design Energy Report. There's 88 gates, each of which have 6 lines. Well, it doesn't add up to a year, but it does add up to your chakras, centers, and so forth. So they do last for a certain number of days. I haven't quite figured out the mathematical equivalent for all that yet, but I did want to talk about what is a gate. It's a barrier. It's a baby gate, right? You put a baby gate up to keep the dogs or the baby out of a certain room. So it's a barrier. And then the line would be the path. So the path to overcoming the barrier is what Human Design Energy, I believe, is all about. It's revealing that barrier and then finding a path around it or through it at times. And having those reports in the morning can help you navigate the energies, much like these readings do. Then we talked about blocked intuition, and that blocked intuition, the card stayed in the shadow for most of the video. You could barely see it, and because it is so dark, as you can see, it's a pretty dark card. It stayed hidden and didn't want to reveal itself. almost as if we're just pushing it to the side and not looking at it. Bring it into the light, and look at it and accept and allow. Then I said the words, spit it out. And as I was rewatching the video, I looked at spit it out and thinking, when something tastes bad, you spit it out, right? Or when you can't find the right words, you say, I just need to spit it out, to get it out. Energies like that, guys. You need to release energies. You need to release the pains of the past, if you will, and spit it out. Get it out so that you can put new in. I said no harm, no foul. And I started thinking again about the words, right? So if it was a football game, right, and there was no harm done, then there's no penalty flag going to be thrown. No foul. No foul in football means no penalty, which means that it will not result in lost yards or whatever. There's no punishment, if you will. So if you don't cause any harm, there will be no punishment. And that stems from your intentions, not necessarily actions. If you do good actions with ill intention, that's harm. So it might be harm to you only, but it's still harm. We talked about good versus bad, manipulation, and intention. I'm struggling with this manipulation thing. Writing that fine line. And that could be a result of my upbringing and being told what manipulation is, and now I have to redefine it. But it's if you have pure intentions, then I suspect it's not manipulation. So always go back to the intention of what it is you're looking at. Did they have a bad intention? Do you have a bad intention? Is your intention pure? You know, I always talk about this pure intention. What is pure? Pure is clear, like pure water. Pure, it's, the integrity is there, right? It's a pure integrity that you have with that intention. And when you have that, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. I mean, when in doubt, go back to the intention. The right way versus, I don't know, I just wrote right way. I guess there's a right way for everything, but there's more than one way that could be right. And what's right for you won't be right for someone else. Again, it's in the eye of the beholder. We talked about letting it go with grace or versus it being ripped out. And again, when watching the video, I was thinking ripped, like ripped from your sleep is when you're jarred awake. An alarm will rip you out of your sleep. My alarm rips me out of my sleep several times every morning because I fight against it. But think about what is being taken or ripped, ripped into pieces, destroyed. Because that's what the tower is. It will destroy those things that are not meant for you, one way or another, and give you what it is you asked for originally, what's right for you. We talked about fighting against the force, trying to force things versus the effortless effort. When you force something, it generally doesn't last. When it fits together, think about a puzzle. When you're putting a puzzle together, when it just fits, then that's the right place for it to be. When you try to force it, then you break the piece and it won't fit in where it's supposed to fit in later, and blah blah blah, and the whole 9 yards. So forcing it never ends well. It just never ends well. So find that effortless effort. Then I talked about, so at one point I yawned during the reading, which is happening a lot lately. Sorry about that. But it was when I was saying, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. Well, that goes both ways, right? And it goes in the negative and in positive directions. The only really good example I can come up with, and I'm gonna, all right, I'm just gonna say it. So I had this boyfriend one time who was convinced I was cheating on him. I wasn't, but he was convinced, and he would go through my phone for hours at a time. And he would find these messages from years ago or harmless messages and turn those messages into fit his narrative. If you look hard enough, you will find it. If you really, really want to find evidence that a person is cheating on you, even if they're not, you'll find it. So that's what that kind of meant there. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. But on the positive side, if you look hard enough to find that good in somebody, you will find it. but let it be what it's going to be. You know, that's the song that we heard today too. I think I looked it up and now I can't remember the name of the country singer but it's the name of it's If It's Meant to Be, It'll Be. Go look that song up. It's a really good song. Talked about acceptance being less exhausting and allowing, just surrendering. You'll preserve energy that way, guys. You're not expending energy to look for something that's not there, to turn something into nothing, to turn nothing into something, to conspire against the universe. Work with it. Why not? Work with it. We talked at the end there about recording, documenting, and reflecting. So I thought that was an interesting little progression, right? You write something down. Yeah. What did I say? Recorded, documented, reflect. So recorded, maybe like I record the videos and then I go back and I document afterwards and then we reflect on them afterwards. So it's literally the process by which these videos are put together. Are you doing that in your life? Are you recording those moments and then going back, journaling about them and then reflecting on them to get the lesson that you need to learn? The dog started barking when I was talking about perfection. Now, it did bark in the video, but when I was watching the video to take notes and do this little after reading, the dogs were barking to the point where I could not even hear what was being said. And it was when I was talking about perfection. Again, with the perfect, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for what's perfect for you. Yeah, perfect is a tough word. I try not to use it, but I used it quite a bit today. So keep that in mind, guys. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're not perfect. But there's going to be perfect moments, if you will. Appreciate the perfect moments. I talked about being out of practice when I was talking about the crystals, right? And I was out of practice with the sacral chakra things there in the Rite of Entering. I moved every card to look for the Rite of Entering except for the intuition card. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. Honestly, it's because I knew it wasn't there. I could see behind it, but it was interesting that I moved every card to look for that stone except for that first card. And I feel like that's, you can look behind everything, but at the end of the day, you have to look to your intuition. You're gonna, to go back to that old example I talked about with the boyfriend. When he was cheating, I didn't need proof. I just knew. You just know. If you have to look for the proof, you already know the answer. Trust it. Trust yourself. Why do you need proof? And really, I guess to take that example further, if you have to ask the question, then you know the answer. But if you are already suspecting that, then the trust is already gone. And whether or not it's true is irrelevant. It's over. It's done. So, and then at the end I said, don't even ask the question. More will be revealed. I talked about my counseling and stuff and literally just confirmed what I said just now. Don't even bother asking the question. Don't look for the proof. More will be revealed if you give it time. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is counseling. I talked about I'm in school to become a counselor. And think about counsel, right? To counsel someone is to advise, right? You have a council. I think the president has a council of people, right, that advises him. And counseling and being that guru, being that advisor, doesn't mean telling people what to do or how to do it or giving them, and this is what I'm learning in school, you don't give them the answers. And you don't tell them what they need to change and how to change it. You give them a safe place with which to discover what they want to change. And then they will tell you how they're going to do it. They may not know right away, and you have to, it's a very patient waiting game, if you will, in this field. So all kind of coming together. Do you have a friend that's a counselor? Do you rely on someone? A counselor is nothing more than a glorified friend. Really, if you think about it, someone who gives you the safe place to be yourself, safe place to explore and understand and document and reflect. And if you have that person in your life,
appreciate them, show gratitude for them. I have several people like that in my life, and I act as that to several people in my life, and it's reciprocal energy, guys, reciprocal. We don't force square pegs into round holes much anymore. We try not to, and we remind each other when we're doing that. So a lot of times you need that reflective energy to for someone else to see it from the outside looking in. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I am I don't know, a few minutes late, but it'll work out. All right, we'll talk soon. Much love and light.